Hello, my name is Hannah Hicks, and this is my volunteer experience final presentation. I had the privilege of volunteering at the Hayes Cadwell Women's Center. The Hayes Cadwell Women's Center is also called HCWC. Their mission statement is to create an environment where violence and abuse are not tolerated in the communities we serve. The center will provide education, violence prevention services, and crisis intervention to victims of family violence, dating violence, sexual assault, and child abuse. Their main office is located at 1101 Davis Lane here in San Marcos, Texas. This is a photo of this main office and where I spent the majority of my volunteer work at. They also have other buildings, but they'd like to keep the location of those private due to privacy concerns. So what does HCWC do? Well, they provide free and discreet assistance to those who have been harmed by, once again, family violence, dating violence, sexual assault, child abuse, or homelessness. HCWC benefits their clients through their services, such as providing counseling. They do have a counseling center on site. They also help provide legal support and advocacy. They also have safe houses on the premises. They also help their clients get connected with financial assistance. And lastly, overall, they support their clients through these extremely difficult times. HCWC is a nonprofit organization. This means that they seek to accomplish some service provision goal, not to make a profit for private owners. They are also a private agency. This is defined by the text as they are privately owned and run by people, not employed by government. Sources of funding. Their main source of funding is due to state and federal's funding, about 60%. They also receive funding through local support, local governments, in-kind donations, foundations, and MISC revenue. They hold several fundraisers to help receive this funding. I've also included a link over here that if you would like to donate, you can click on and help contribute to this number. Next, the populations that they serve adults, youth, and children who are all victims of abuse. You also must live, work, or attend school in Hayes and Cadwell counties. In the year of 2022, they were able to provide support to 2,269 community members at their facilities. 978 of these were victims of domestic violence, 660 were victims of sexual assault, 639 were victims of child abuse. This all helps contribute to this number. And this number only accounts for face-to-face interaction at their facilities. It does not account for their online services as well as their hotline services that also help people escape abuse. There is also no eligibility requirement to receive help from this agency. This means that there is no means testing. Anybody who needs help and who is struggling with abuse can contact HCWC to receive the help that they need. What are some primary agencies that they work with? Well, they work with the Texas Department of Family Protective Services, the DFPS. They collaborate with HCWC to help families who are enduring abuse. DFPS might send a family to the Hayes Cadwell Women's Shelter for temporary housing, counseling, and other support services if they receive a report of abuse or neglect. This works inversely, as HCWC may refer or contact DFPS in serious cases, such as when dealing with children. They work closely and frequently together when dealing with clients to ensure coordination of services, case management, and advocacy. But with working with these two agencies, I did find two major gaps between HCWC and DFPS. Number one being a lack of coordination and communication between the two systems. When this happens, it means that women and children who are in need of assistance may fall through the cracks or be denied services because of this miscommunication. Number two, another gap is a lack of concern for addressing the core causes of issues of abuse. For example, poverty, lack of healthcare, and discrimination can all be factors in leading to abuse. When the root of this problem is not addressed, children and women and everyone is more likely to experience abuse due to these factors. My volunteer activities, I had the privilege of working with Edith Siloff, who was the data coordinator at HCWC. We worked together to help move the physical files over to an online database. This meant that I had to ensure that all the documents had no staples so that they could go through the copying machine without breaking it. I also had to ensure that each file had the correct documentation, all of it was signed and in order. And lastly, I had to identify the last date of service and mark each file with a colored tab to indicate this date. This is all in hopes to help them just be more efficient and lower the chance of files being lost, as well as just making it easier on them. One of my most memorable experiences would be my first day at HCWC. I can recall that I was extremely nervous and just really dreading going because I was so nervous. But my first day was so important to me because I overcame this fear and I realized that I am capable of more than I think that I am. Next, my most significant moment was when I was able to help the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services and the overall impact that it had. I can recall that one day when I was volunteering, they had lost a case file. And so I put my work aside for a second to try to help them find this file. When they had given up, in my head, I just thought, this is a person who needs help. And I looked and looked and looked and finally found the file and gave it to them. And they were so happy. So it was just a great, significant moment for me. Lastly, these are my resources. I pulled from the HCWC website as well as the Curse Ashman textbook. Thank you. Have a nice day.